My name is Uday Ghare, and this is the first episode of video podcast called Behind the Scenes. Now, there is a background behind this, which I'll talk as we move forward. But today, I'm very pleased to have Ajay Singh here with us on this video podcast. It's fantastic to meet Ajay. Ajay has again he has a very interesting journey. He probably started as an engineer, I guess, and then
Yeah.
he, with his passion of getting into movie making or filmmaking, he kind of pivoted completely to a new line from his core technology kind of job to movie making job, and he went through the whole training from very esteemed institute, that is Department of Communication Studies in Pune University, and then he continued to work towards one clear passion, that how do I create beautiful content for for my viewers. And his latest movie, which got released, which is a Netflix originals in India, is Chor Nikalke Bhaaga. And I know there are a lot of people who are glued to the screen for the whole 2 hours. Amazing drama movie. So, very warm welcome, Ajay, to the video podcast.
Thank you for
Uh, yeah.
pleasure.
And it would be nice to hear a bit about yourself. You can just, talk to our audience, about you, who you are, what did you, how did you start your journey, right, on this whole
Yeah.
media or movie industry.
So it's been a long journey actually. It's been 15 years, but those 15 years have got many ups and downs. So it feels like a very long journey. I did my graduation as an engineer basically from Mumbai University. And then I worked in Patni Computer Systems for 4 years. Out of that, 1.5 year was in US, Lynchburg G Financial Assurance Office, basically.
Wow.
So,
So you
and
also went through the typical H1B route.
yeah, H1B group, exactly.
Okay.
So I was there for 1.5 years, and then probably I had collected enough amount of money so that I could make a switch. It is not that engineering was boring to me, basically, but I thought I could create something a bit more interesting, so that I have my own story to tell to my grandkids and kids. So that helped me take a decision like that, because I am from a lower middle class family. So for us, doing a job in US is a big enough thing, and then to leave that thing and start something fresh was it's a very big decision to take. But my family supported me very well in that. They just trusted me, probably because I had given them good marks in 10th and 12th standard. So that's the criteria which they look at. Ki probably the guy is serious about whatever he's doing. And then I came back to India, did my master's in communication studies from Pune University. And there I had actually thought ki I would do a gradual shift into the industry, slowly getting into the advertising and then completely fictional forms and then films. But there I met a man called Samar Nakhate, who
Yes.
who completely changed our outlook towards filmmaking basically, and we started loving the whole process. So I decided I would not wait and do a gradual shift. I will directly jump into the film industry. And after completion of the course, I came to Mumbai and I started working under directors. There were ad film makers like Vinil Matthew and all those, which are very big names in current today's industry. And there are other directors like Rajkumar Gupta, who has made films like No One Killed Jessica, Raid, and all. And then there was Shashank Ghosh, who has made films like Quick Gun Murgan, all that. So I started working under them, and for 4 years I worked under them, and I had gained good experience. Then I did my first feature film. It was called Upside Down. Basically, it was a very art house film done on a very small indie budget, and so and that went across film festivals like Pune Film Festivals, Kerala Film Festivals, and all those things. then I was into writing and everything. There were ups and downs where my films were supposed to start, and then it used to stop, and then there was wait and all. So that was a tough period for mentally also and financially, because financially starts getting into your the pressure starts mounting on you when the money stops coming,
Right.
basically. And then in 2016, I made a film called Lose Control, which was done in Marathi.
Yeah. I've
So
seen that movie. Lovely movie. Yeah.
yeah, so that film was good. It was because the public reactions which we got was good, but we failed in the other half of the whole process. That's the marketing and landing of the film, which there I came to know it's not enough to make a good film only. The
Yeah.
second part is the marketing and the landing of the film is very, very, very important,
Mm.
to make it reach to the people. So we
Yeah.
failed in that thing. And after that, I got to do a film called Chor Nikalke Bhaaga with Maddock film, and that was a Netflix original. And it happened to do very well across other platforms. Basically, it was the most viewed film on any platform for an Indian content across.
Interesting.
So that happened, and now we are in the process of making the sequel to Chor Nikalke Bhaaga, that is Chor Nikalke Bhaaga 2, basically.
Wow.
So the writing stage is complete. We might just start it anytime this year. So that's
Amazing.
overall journey.
What a journey. Amazing journey, Ajay. And it's truly inspiring. And I know as we talk in this podcast, we will go across those nitty-gritties and nuances of each of those phases that we go across, about what you have gone through, right? I wanted to tell to my audience and to you also, Ajay, is this whole concept of behind the scene name
Yeah,
actually originated from the fact as early as when I was 7 year old or about 8 year old maybe. When first time, while after the movie finished, I was seeing this. First time I noticed that there's a big black screen coming with all these names, in small white color font. Some English words are coming, and I asked my dad very innocently that what is this coming? Movie finished, but this is still going on something. No one is even waiting to see what this is there, And my dad said that, oh, this is all the people who worked in the movie, from the background. I said, those many people work actually in the movie, and he said, yeah, this is called credits. I said, okay. And since then, it has always been intriguing that in the when the movie finishes, there is a literally a 2 minutes or 3 minutes of constant rolling of names coming across, and you realize that there are so many people involved in this magic, and these are the people who are behind the scenes, really, helping the director, producer, actors, the whole story maker, writer the to make this movie happen, right? And the whole idea of behind the scene is to talk about those nuances, right? What these people do, and bring those some of those people into this forum and talk about what they do in the movie, and what is their role, in the movie making process. So
yeah,
that was the whole origins of behind the scene. Probably I realized that dream 40 plus years later, that let's talk about it, right? What is the behind the scenes?
yeah,
So, so coming back to, this podcast, what was that really pursued you to, move from a good settled H1B US, typically the people when you came probably was early 2000, I guess, around that time,
yeah, yeah.
which was the boom time for IT and,
Yeah,
people.
mid of, you can call it 2004, 5, mid of 2000.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I know people who have come in that period have been in the US for now also, right? They're settled here
Yeah.
or whatever.
All my friends are there. All my colleagues who were with me, basically, they are either settled in US or Australia, basically, doing their IT work.
So I really want to understand what was that inner passion, right? That really made you to really come out of, taking that beautiful opportunity, literally leaving that opportunity and coming back to India to pursue your dream. So what was the trigger point,
More than the passion, I will tell you, it is my what you can call it. It's my I can't find a word for it, but it's a playground where I can play for 24 hours. Because when I was working in the industry, I was good at coding and everything. But when the timing used to go beyond 10, 12 hours, basically, you used to feel fatigued and all. Then I thought ki probably I would like to do something which I can do for 24 hours. And when I had done at the age of 16, 15, also had done plays and all, which I had written and so worked on some in some capacity or the other. And I felt ki probably here I can, if I have to work 24 hours a day, then also I would be comfortable.
Right.
And the price which you get for doing this work or the remuneration in the form was also good. Like you had the fame and the money was there, but there were some fears also, because I had heard stories of not so organized industry, because I was coming from a very well organized industry where the mail has to be sent at 12:03 a.m. So it has to go at 12:3. And this is the industry where an actor comes at 3 o'clock in the afternoon for a 9 o'clock shift.
Yeah.
So these were the complete two ends of the spectrum. And I had heard stories of the criminal world or the underworld being involved, basically. So I had to take a step which is gonna be, I'm gonna be doing for all my life. So there was a thinking which was happening ki, is it the right path or not? कि I had thought कि अगर फिल्म में नहीं जमा मुझे, तो मैं थोड़ा सा सेमी ऑर्गेनाइज एडवर्टाइजिंग इंडस्ट्री में आई वुड वर्क. So that was my thinking, because I didn't know exactly how this industry functioned, because I was यहाँ पे in the IT industry, I was very comfortable because I am a very regular sort of guy who goes to the office at 9 and comes back at 6. And this is a completely different industry. So I thought ki first I will test the waters and then get into it. But when I started doing it, I had so much fun doing it. Just to shoot something and edit it on the table, it gave me so much pleasure ki I thought ki I can do this all my life. Even
See,
if the
that,
money is shorter. And that is the motivation which I got ki yaar ye jab, if you can do something for 24 hours and you don't feel the pain, then why not do the whole this thing for a whole of your life. And that was the main thing which helped me take a decision ki yeah, probably this is the time to shift.
fantastic. I think, see, it's all about, where you really love to be working for without any kind of a fatigue, or you really love that, right? That's what you're
Yeah.
saying is one has to really love whatever they are doing. They need to really love 24/7, right?
Yes.
That they don't really feel like they think that that is the way of life, so it's a that's where the you gain the pleasure, you gain the pain,
Yeah.
and both, but you are happy with that, right? But
Because
yeah,
there is hard work and pain and all those things is in every industry,
yes,
basically. So I am just trying to do it in the one which I love.
we want to really understand now the whole process of Chor Nikalke Bhaaga, right? Because I understand you were part of the writing process also, right?
Yeah.
So how did you know how did you go about writing this script, right? What is the genesis of an idea, right? A script,
See, actually, this one has a long story. The whole how CNKV happened. In 2014, Siraj Ahmed, who has actually written Chor Nikalke Bhaaga, had come to me with the script in 2014, and he wanted me to direct this film and all. So I said I was in the process. My one of my script was picked up by UTV, and they were supposed to produce the film, which not happened, which is a different story. But then I forwarded that script to Amar. Amar Kaushik, the director of Stree, and because he was searching for script and he liked the script, so he took it to Rajkumar Gupta, who was his boss at that time, and he was assistant to Rajkumar Gupta, associate to Rajkumar Gupta, and they developed the whole script for 4 5 months, and the film was supposed to happen with Amar to direct the film, Rajkumar Gupta and John Ibrahim to produce the film, and John and Tamanna Bhatia were supposed to act in that film.
Wow.
But yeah, so that was supposed to happen in 2016 somewhere. But that project didn't take off for some reason, which I don't know. And then Amar was given Stree by Rajan DK and Maddock, and Stree became a hit. So Amar did Bala after that, and then he was doing Bhedia. By that time, somebody who knew this script, Chor Nikalke Bhaaga, started working for Netflix. So he said, he took that script to Amar. He said, why don't you direct this for Netflix original? So Amar said, I am doing Bhedia and I can't do it. So they said, you become a creative director on that, a creative producer, and get somebody else to direct it. So then Amar gave me a call, and then he said, कि ये script है. So we took the script and we just rewrote the whole thing because the script was made in 2016 basically. So we rewrote the whole thing, made some changes which made it look contemporary, and then we everybody agreed on the script, and then we shot the whole thing. And after that, you also know what happened. So that's the journey of the whole script. So ultimately जिसको करना होता है उसके पास ही घूम के आ जाती है स्क्रिप्ट, ऐसा है.
Wonderful. But you have also, in the previous films, you have written the script also, right? I
Yeah.
think Upside Down or the Marathi script.
Yeah.
You actually wrote the script, right?
Yes.
So what is the process? How does one write a script? Like, कैसे शुरू होता है ये सब
See,
process?
सबसे important thing है to get that idea which excites you. ये बहुत what do you call it? It's a thing which I can't explain you. It's something.
Like the artist who starts drawing a painting, it's like that.
Yeah, yes. The most fertile land for any creative what do you call spark to happen is the industry, because there are things happening which some good film comes up and you get jealous of it कि मैंने ये क्यों नहीं बनाया, and that might be a motivation and that might spark something in you and you might create something else. The more you have read, that's the more information you have, that in conjunction with knowing the industry of what is happening in the industry, ये सारे चीजों का फ्रिक्शन होके कहीं तो आइडिया निकलता है. आई डोंट नो वेदर आई एम एबल टू एक्सप्लेन यू, बिकॉज दैट्स वेरी एब्स्ट्रैक्ट कि एक फ्रेंड की कोई ग्रेट आइडिया माइट जस्ट क्रिएट दैट जेलेसी इन यू एंड यू माइट जस्ट क्रिएट समथिंग. So
there's some trigger that spark.
Yeah, right. Because that is very important, and once you have it, then starts the proper approach to how you can develop into a script. Because if you go into any script writing sessions, or there are many podcasts and videos on YouTube which tells you how to develop into a story, but if you have seen enough films in your life, then once you get an idea, you automatically start building structures across it, on it, and it starts becoming into a story. It's a very abstract process which I can't pen it down. There are people who try to structurize it and give approaches. There are 3-act structures and there are 7-act structures. There is Bell the Cat structure and all sorts of structures are that, but it depends on you how, because I don't follow anything. I have a very simple approach. I just try to put myself into, suppose if I have to write a horror, I start watching horror films so that 24 hours I stay in that zone. And something somewhere, an accident or a news on TV might just click something on it, and it might just develop into something once I have something in my mind, then I start putting this what you call superstructure or ढांचा डालने की देखता हूँ whether I am following the structures which the industry have, but I don't start with the structure. Anything which is interesting, you should try to create, and that is when you keep your mind open. That is how you will get an idea, and once you get an idea, so you have seen so many films, it will start automatically structuring into a film ka story, because you don't know any other way of telling a story basically.
Yeah. So likhna, it's almost like getting into that frame of mind, what you said, right? Like
It's a
actors,
trance.
फेमस एक्टर्स मतलब अपने जो जो आज पॉपुलर एक्टर्स है वो बोलते हैं कि मैं कैरेक्टर में घुस जाता हूँ, राइट? तो वैसे ही आई थिंक इट्स द प्रोसेस ऑफ अ राइटर आल्सो, राइट? यू आर
Yes,
गेटिंग इनटू दैट
exactly.
फ्रेम ऑफ माइंड कि मुझे अब यदि इस इसमें कुछ ट्रिगर हुआ है तो आई नीड टू बी 24/7 ऑन दैट.
If you let yourself free your mind, and you are just keeping your mind open to accept anything of that, it's just a matter of time that you will get one. That is what my process is. That's why I take a year and a half to write a script.
Wow. Okay. Once you write a script, you have this concept of reciting or some kind of brainstorming
Narration.
with your narration, right? वो क्या
Yeah.
होता है? What is
See,
narration?
that's my best that is the best thing which I like. Once you get I have my friends and my fellow colleagues, basically. One of them happens to be my friend Sheetal Vaidya also. Once I get an idea, I keep bouncing it to the people whom I know, basically. And I'm doing this for last 10, 12 years. I keep bouncing it at every level. Once an idea strikes me and I feel it is exciting, I talk to these people and they keep adding it to it. That is what I feel. Once then idea level ka, once I develop a context of it and a setup of it, I talk to people. And I have designated people I know ki ye log, they will give me a proper feedback, which helps me also. And I have different stages, basically. And there is a last stage where I have a complete story developed and I share it with those people. And those are my doctors. And they keep giving me feedbacks.
सर्जरी कर दे वो आपके स्क्रिप्ट की पूरी सर्जरी कर देते हैं. Yeah.
Literally, they keep doing surgery. This actually hurts you at time because they will come up with feedbacks which you might not enjoy. But if you can take those feedbacks, then this Joby, whatever you are developing, this will develop very fast. Because what I think is you can see only 178 degrees, but the other people can do a see 182 degrees. And that helps me. So I only write my first draft. After that is only narration and reading by my doctors and my people. They uh, give you so many feedbacks that your whole script starts developing by itself because of their inputs and becomes very strong. So this bouncing and taking feedbacks is a very important thing. That's why I keep telling you, you have to be in touch with the people who are actually in the industry. And I have people in the industry who keep giving me feedbacks. So
Right.
feedback mechanism, if you can get it right, basically, then you are in a much better place as anything, basically, as a writer also, as a director also. Because once you have shot these things and people, all the departments give you input. The way you are a director, the same way there is a cameraman who is good enough. There is a sound designer who's good enough. The costume designer is good enough. If you keep your ego aside and if you take their inputs, you will be in a much better position to capitalize on what you have. मेरा 50% का वो लोग 90% कर देंगे if I don't have ego basically. A belief is one thing in your or whatever you are doing, but there is an openness has to be there to accept things from the people whom you trust or from anybody. If you feel कि ये मेरी project को help कर रहा है, even a watchman, security guy, if he is reading my script or hearing my narration and if he tells me यार यहाँ पे मुझे bore हो रहा है, वो नॉर्मल पब्लिक को भी बोर होगा. सो इफ आई माइट डू समथिंग टू take that boring part out, it might just help me. So that feedback mechanism as good you have, the better you will be as a maker. That's what I think.
Now we get into this final segment of our video podcast, which is about specific about filmmaking process, right? For example, ये जो चोर निकल के भागा में you have this fictional Middle Eastern city called Al Barkat, right? So which brings the unique flavor to the whole narrative and all that, right? So can you share the process कि कैसे मतलब the location was selected, how this whole visualization of done was of this whole Al Barkat?
Al Barkat is the name given to the city because we were not allowed to use Dubai.
Ah.
The reason is because a plane from Al Barkat gets hijacked. So when we went to Dubai to shoot the film, they said ki since there is a hijack happening and there is a terrorism associated, we can't allow to use the name Dubai. So everywhere there was a Dubai ka reference, we had to remove it. And we had to use a fictional city called Al Barkat. That's what the whole process is.
So ये चीज आपको फिल्म के बनाने के बाद बताई गई कि ड्यूरिंग द शूट ही चल रहा था ये?
No, before the shoot, we came to know because
But
when we selected the place, basically the plane takes, because initially the plane was supposed to take off from London initially in the script, but
oh,
since London to Mumbai, Delhi is a 8-10 hour long flight, but we didn't wanted to lose the excitement and the tension in that long flight. So we wanted a 2.5 hour long flight. That's why we decided to go to Dubai, and it's a visually very interesting city with expansive landscapes and huge buildings. So that start would have become very interesting. So we did the recce of that place, and we thought this is an interesting location to start with it. And we had finalized that place when we went there to take the permission for the location. We were informed that you can't use, because you have to submit the script before taking
ah.
permission for the location. More so near when you are shooting near the airports and all.
So
Yes.
you be flexible enough in your script also to some extent, but not of
Yeah.
course. It is very important कि script fix रखनी है because plot पूरा change हो जाएगा, तो you are right, you can't
Yeah,
probably change.
because for us, it didn't matter whether the plane takes off from Dubai or Abu Dhabi or Sharjah or Kuwait. But we were comfortable shooting in Dubai because there are lots of Indian Bollywood films which get shot in Dubai. So it becomes an easier thing for the production to achieve. That's why we went to Dubai. That's as simple as that.
Right, right. And उसके बाद ये जो large part of the movie is on the airlines.
Yeah.
What did you do? You literally actually hired a airline or you
No,
made a airline? What
no,
was the
you can't shoot in a actual plane because lighting inside a plane becomes a nightmare. Basically,
right?
you can't shoot it. So we constructed the whole plane.
Wow.
We constructed the whole plane in a studio in Mira Road, which is just outside Bombay, basically. And we tried to make it look as real as possible. And we had both the walls, even the top was removable, basically,
Oh,
detachable, so that uh, because every time you want there were 150 plus passengers in the plane, so every time you have to load it, get the passengers on board, you through the gate, it would have become a nightmare. So we had those walls which were movable, so every time you want these people to load, you can just open the flaps and they could enter and sit in the plane, and when the shot used to happen, and after that they can just move out of the plane. So it became very easy, and all the walls in the plane, the cabinet walls near the toilet and were movable, so that you could remove those walls and shoot it, so that it becomes easier shooting it, because you were shooting with a bulky camera with steady cams and all, it becomes difficult to shoot in a plane because you don't have enough space to maneuver the camera and all, because
was
we
it your idea or was it like who actually thought about this whole design of this airlines or ऐसा खुलना चाहिए so that everyone can quickly get in, get out?
there
No.
we had a production designer who's a very good production designer, Mayur Sharma. He had
Okay.
very easily accessible, because to make it real is one thing, and since we were supposed to shoot 16 days in that plane, so it should not become a nightmare shooting in the plane.
Yeah.
If you want to shoot a person from a distance sitting in a seat, So how do you? So all the seats were removable.
Ah,
So you can
okay.
put a track and move the camera. So in all the shots where Sunny is running in the plane, when it's taking off, all those things you can shoot easily because all the seats across which were not visible in the camera were removed, and then we could track the whole thing.
Very interesting. Very interesting. There is a lot of scenes where the flight is moving, right? Up and down, and it's going down. And how did you go about doing that? You know,
See that this comes from basically how do you tell the story. We could have got the whole plane fixed on a maneuver motor basically, which would have moved the motor, but that would have become very clumsy, and to keep shooting something like that for 15 days would have become a huge problem. So all these shots basically are done with a shaky camera and with using right angles so that you get a feeling of flying the aircraft. So it's all done purposely with some shake in the some breathing or some shaking in the camera, and with camera angles also, because when the plane is taking off we shot everything low angle, and when the plane is landing we shot everything high angle, so that you get a feeling of you are going down or you are running against the flight of the plane basically. So it were all camera angles which were decided before the shoot only. And so it were very with properly storyboarded. Everybody knew what shots we were going to be taking. So that's how everything was planned. So
right.
it's camera taking is the shot taking way is the one which helped us give you the feel that you are in a plane. We didn't had the motorized movement of the plane to give it feel that it's in the air.
So this brings me to the question कि जब आप scene shoot करने जाते हो, so and like the whole movie is a sequence of many scenes, right? And
Yeah,
there are different places and all that.
yeah.
तो हर सीन का स्टोरी बोर्डिंग, हर सीन में क्या एग्जैक्टली होना है, सब यू डू इनिशियली बिफोर ऑल द शूट स्टार्ट्स, कि हर सीन के कुछ पहले होता है? मतलब हाउ हाउ डज इट, इट इज लाइक सीक्वेंशियल प्रोसेस कि
No,
पहले पूरा
ideally you should do everything beforehand.
हाँ,
See, the more you are prepared for these things, the better you can concentrate on the performances. What happens if you go there and you start planning your shots and everything on the set, what happens ultimately the performances के ऊपर से हमारा ध्यान चला जाता है. If you are prepared with what shot you are going to take, what lens you are going to take, then ultimately what you are looking is only the performance, and that is what matters the most. See, if you have got the best set in the world, you have got the best cameraman, you have got the best angles, but if the performances are not right, nothing is going to work. So if you are well prepared and your research and homework is done and everybody knows how we are going to shoot it, then on the monitor you can completely concentrate only on one thing of the performances, whether you are telling the story right. So that is why I prepare everything so well, so that on the set I don't have to look for anything else other than the performances of the actors. That is
हाँ.
my approach. People might have different one, but that is how I work.
सो यहाँ पे क्वेश्चन आता है, यू नो, again, this is one common thing which all of us like any movie people or movie buff will know is कि वो take one take two होता है, right? हर
Yeah.
scene के पहले.
Yeah.
And sometimes you take many takes, right, for doing a same scene. And it's this classical dilemma for, I guess, a director or cinematographer कि कब तक ये करते रहे, मतलब perfection and cost and time. How do you balance that, right? It's a very tricky thing, right? वो कैसे, how do you balance that?
See, it's a very simple thing. You will understand that ki what is good enough for me to tell the story, वो मिल गया तो you have to move out. You might get that luxury later in your career where you have the budget at your disposal and you have good number of days. But when you are starting, you will be given limited budget, and because of which the limited number of days basically you have to shoot. So you have to tell what you have to take a call ki what is good enough for me to tell the story, and then you move out. Because if you waste too much time on one shot, then your other shot which happens later in the day might just suffer. So
Yeah.
if you go to make this 120% good, then that might become only 50% good. So I would rather make everything 80% good and go ahead with it. So that's a call which a director has to take, so that you end up making a decent film. Or aisa nahi ho ki one shot is very nicely taken, which has all the movements and performance, and the other shot has very bad, which might not sit in the film. So you have to take a call. You have to balance the whole film.
Right. Now the final segment comes is you got the shots. Now comes the question of editing, right? And the whole content operations or media supply chain जो बोलते हैं
Yeah.
वो process आती है, and then finally is distribution. So can you talk about 10 minutes about these two processes, right? The editing and then, finally distribution, getting it ready for Netflix kind of streaming platform.
See, it's very simple. Once you have shot the whole film is converted into a low resolution video so that it is easily editable. So there is lot of footage. Sometimes the ratio of usage to the shot is 1 is to 10. Sometimes it is 1 is to 20. Like you might have for a 120-minute film, you might have shot 1000 hours, 1000 minutes also. Sometimes it is different, but once the editor sits on the whole thing, he or she tries to tell the story, and that is what has to be done. The director would have shot it, but the editor has to take all those footage and try to tell the story on according to the vision the director has. Whether editor is following the script or trying to tell the story in his own way, that depends. Once that's edit is locked, means the director also believes ki this is the one, and the producer also sees that there's are different stages. And if any OTT is involved, then you send that edit to the OTT, and they also suggest some changes, so you make those changes, and then you lock the script. You lock the edit. Once the edit is locked, then actual post production starts. This editing stage is a completely different stage, which might take unknown number of days, because sometimes the film has been shot so well that you might just able to edit the whole film and get a lock script in 2 months. Sometimes the whole same process takes 6 months.
Wow.
It
Wow.
depends upon how well the film has been shot and whether the story is getting conveyed or not. Sometimes it happens ki we had thought ki we are shooting this thing and something else has been shot, then the editor has to struggle to tell the same story using different editing methods and all. But that is where you lock the script, lock the edit. Once the edit is locked, the actual post production starts, where it goes to the colorist also, where you're coloring in. Then it goes to various sound departments. There is a music department which is happening, there is a SFX department is happening, there is the clearing of the dialogues which have been recorded on the set. All these sounds are recorded. Then all these sounds are taken and they are mixed by a mixing engineer. Then those videos are sent to different video vendors also, like VFX people. There are different shots which are gonna require VFX inputs. Like there is in some shot you might see a light stand, or you might see something which has to be cleaned, so that will happen. Or in some shot there is a VFX input which has to come, so that VFX will be CG will be created and will be put in that. So all these things happen, and then the whole thing, after you have given the VFX things also, the whole film is colored as we discussed initially. It is colored to make it feel uniform. And once you have that output, the video and the all the sound output, the mixed sound output is married together basically. and an output is taken. Then it depends whether you want to send the film to a theater, a DCP is sent, a different output is sent to a theater, or you want to put it on YouTube, a different output is sent, or if you want to give it to an OTT, a different output is given. So that is how the whole process is followed, basically.
And इसमें dubbing भी होती है, right? At some point,
Huh?
dubbing.
Yeah. See, okay, what happens? There is a sync sound which has come in, basically, where you record most of the sounds on the set. What happens when you are recording sync sound? It reduces your dubbing, plus the performances which are coming, the sound performances which are coming are much natural. So that's why most of the people prefer sync sound, which is costly also and which requires a silent set. So you can't have a heavy machinery or heavy sound on the set. So if
Right.
you can't get a silent set, then probably those parts of the dialogues, or if in certain dialogues there is a rubbing which has been heard or which is not been clear, so that gets redubbed in a studio.
Yeah.
And that is put together with the sync sound which is recorded. Now the there are sync sound recording engineers also, who are so good that they record the sounds on the set as if you are recording it in a studio.
Wow.
So all dubbing process, which is usually a month and a half long process, is reduced. So you only usually 15 to 20% of the film is dubbed, and everything else is taken from the sync which is recorded on the set. So dubbing up, people are trying to slowly reduce, because actors ke liye, to reproduce that performance in a AC wala cold studio becomes very tough, basically.
And also their timing and everything comes into
Yeah,
play.
everything becomes
Yeah.
it becomes very tough for the engineers and all. They can work, they can synchronize and everything, that's not a problem. But just the performance, suppose if an actor has to cry, the performance which he gave on the set, because he had that moment, same can't be reproduced in the set on the AC hall, basically, in the dubbing studio. So that's why people prefer getting sync sound of the set, so that the performances are more natural.
So this whole behind the scene activity is really in action in the post-production phase when you have the VFX artist, the edit, mixer, the DCP guys, the transcoding action is happening. बहुत सारे process हो रहे हैं finally to make the end product, right? So,
Yeah.
and then it has to be in line with the OTT streaming requirements, or
Yeah.
that process also takes time. Once your product is ready to actually ship it to a OTT or a theater.
Oh, that doesn't take time, because see, the people who are controlling the post production, there are team which is controlling the post production. They all know the requirements which these OTTs or theaters are gonna have.
Right.
So everything which is created or generated by the post production team will be in accordance to what the OTT or the theater wants. So they will take care that everything is moving in the direction in which the OTT or the theater is wanting, basically. That's it.
Wow. So I think fantastic, and we are on almost on the verge of end of this video podcast. So I want to give you I request you to please share to our audiences guidance on or summary of, if someone wants to go to movie industry, or someone is looking at releasing or selling his story or releasing it to OTT streaming, give some final tips that the viewer should look at, from perspective.
See, it's very interesting that when we are talking specifically about this industry, which seems to have a good amount of creativity and art involved in it, but at the same time, it has got that risk or the uncertainty of a career, which is there, which is like an occupational hazard in the industry. And to that, I only suggest ki do whatever your heart wants, go wherever you want to go, do whatever you want to do, but have a pragmatic approach to the whole thing, so that you, as a professional, and your family on the personal level don't suffer. Because what happens, you suffer because your approach. See, craft and creativity you will develop over a point of time, because if you have a liking to something, it's just a matter you will develop something which is good enough to go into in the industry. But if the path which you are following is not right, then this reaching the goal will take a very long time, which is gonna affect your psychological health and your family's financial health. For that, I recommend to be in touch with as many professionals from the industry, so that you select and keep doing course correction of whatever path you are trying to reach, whatever goal you are trying to reach, so that you don't get frustrated, and the reaching to the goal doesn't become tedious and what do you call कि मंजिल तक पहुंचने में इतनी तकलीफ मत सह लो कि मंजिल पे पहुंचने का मजा नहीं आए. That is what I keep trying all the students and the people who I meet, try to select proper paths to reaching it, and keep doing course correction by taking feedback from people in the industry on professional level, and people from your family and friends to be mentally happy to succeed on personal level also. Because there is no point being a successful director if you psychologically you are not happy. Basically, sometimes it happens you reach your goal, but you are not happy at all. Basically, that's what I don't want. It has to be a smoother sailing. That can only happen if you remain in touch with the people in the industry, and on professional level, and to your family on personal level.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ajay. It was such a fantastic, to talk to you and learn these nitty-gritties. And I'm sure this podcast will help a lot of viewers who are looking at creating a career in movie industry, or acknowledging the fact that there's so many things in the background that happens in the movie making process. So thank you so much, and it was really wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Uday. It has always been a pleasure talking to you.